Hey y'all, welcome back to Homemade Simple. If we've not met before, I'm Lori. I'm really glad that you're here today, and I thought it would be a fun change for us to just spend the day together in a regular run-of-the-mill day in my life. Really have any plans, and those are some of my most favorite days when I'm just going to be home hanging around with my family, getting some stuff done that has been on the to-do list, or just doing regular chores around the house. It's really one of the best ways to spend a day when you're not rushing around, when you have your family around you. Those are the days I love the best. Our days always start around the coffee maker, and today it was super crowded around there. Kelsey was getting some chores done while I was making some coffee for me and Chris. Chris works from home on Mondays, and so I made him a cup of coffee while I made mine as well. Right as I get our coffee made, Lane wakes up and gives me some early morning snuggles. It's Kelsey's birthday week. We have 2 birthdays right back to back. Lane's birthday, and then a week later it's Kelsey's birthday. I think I've told y'all before that we have birthday weeks, and so it was time for Kelsey to open her birthday week gift for today and for Kendall to head out the door. I like to start my mornings with some quiet time, and although today was not very conducive to quiet time, I did feel like it was important for me to push through that, make that the first priority of the day, get some quiet time in. And a friend of mine had suggested maybe using a notebook, writing a couple of the verses that I read that morning, and then maybe write a few things about why that chapter was meaningful to me or something that sort of stood out. Also, I like to write out my prayers in the morning. That doesn't always happen, but sometimes it's really nice for me just to be able to spend some time taking a few moments and focusing on my prayer time, even if it's not as extended as I would like for it to be. And I always feel better when I'm able to start my day with a little bit of quiet time and reflection and prayer. After Kendall headed out the door and I got some studying done, I was able to sneak out and finish my cup of coffee on the front porch. It has turned cooler here in Alabama, which is a really nice change. And although I try really hard not to complain about the weather, I am really longing for some nice, cool fall mornings. I've finally gotten the back porch cleaned off. I am ready to spend some mornings out there as well. But today I decided to take a few minutes, finish my cup of coffee on the front porch. I got these mums at Aldi a week or so ago. They were $3.99, and I was so excited to finally have some live plants on the porch again. I don't know what my problem is, but every single time I plant flowers on the porch, I do really good for several weeks, and then I always get busy, I always get preoccupied, and I always forget to water them. But I'm really determined to keep these plants alive for longer than 3 weeks. I may or may not keep you posted about how that is going. Y'all know that we have had an abundance of eggs lately. I'm always trying to find ways to use them up. So today I decided we would have some French toast, and Lane and I are going to have a quiet breakfast while Chris works and Kelsey begins her schoolwork. I did encourage Lane to say our prayer for us this morning. I don't know if y'all have noticed that Lane is not speaking like a normal 3-year-old. He's been diagnosed with a primary speech delay, and so we're really working through that, trying to get him some speech therapy, also working with a chiropractor to try to get some movement on that issue. I see him advancing already in his speech. If y'all don't mind keeping him in your prayers, maybe soon he will be able to use his words. I know that they're in there and he's very expressive, but he's just not quite able to verbalize the things that he's thinking yet. So hopefully we can get that straightened out. but he is learning his colors. So during breakfast, we work on our colors a little bit, and then after breakfast, it's his chore to put up the silverware out of the dishwasher. So I'm going to help him with that, and then he's going to go on his way, and I'm going to put up the rest of the dishes. I know we've talked before about how I really struggle to stay on top of things like the dishes and laundry, but I am finally feeling like I am getting things together in those aspects. I have been very, very intentional this past month in September to make sure that every day before I go to bed, I have done one complete load of laundry. That means I have washed a load, dried a load, and put a load away. And also that I have cleaned all of the dishes. So before I go to bed, I'm sure to run the dishwasher, and I don't have any laundry just laying around. That has made such a difference. It doesn't mean that my house is magically clean or no longer messy or doesn't look unkept a lot of the time. We live here, we have a lot going on, and so there's a lot of things that still are left undone, but something about the dishes and the laundry being caught up and staying caught up just makes me feel like I have a lot more control over my job as homemaker. So if that's something that you struggle with, first of all, let me say, do not be discouraged by that, and do not feel like you are a failure or that you are less than. I know that it is so discouraging to intend at the beginning of the week to stay caught up on the laundry, and then by the time Thursday gets here, everything is all out of whack and you have 7 loads of laundry that are in the baskets ready to be folded and put away. I know how that feels because that is who I am. I still am not ready to call myself a load a day person. I know that it takes a long time to establish a habit, and I'm really working toward that. But I just want to encourage you to start with today. And if you start with today and you are successful today and you say, no, I can't go to bed quite yet because I haven't done those things that I committed myself to do, and you go and do them, and then you start again the next day and you commit to getting those few things done, whether it is the laundry and the dishes, or it's your Bible reading, or it's making sure that the floor is swept every day. Whatever those things are that are top priorities for your homemaking journey, just start with today and get it done today. And then tomorrow, intend to do the same thing over and over. That is the way success is found. Daily habits becoming rituals, and that becoming a definition of who we are as a homemaker. That's where success is found, in the daily wins and successes of getting better and better every single day, every single week. And then you look back at the end of the month and you see progress. And that really is encouraging when you can look back and know, I did better this month. I did better than I did the month before. I was able to devote myself to that laundry not hanging over my head, and I was able to do it every single day, and it didn't get backed up, and it didn't feel overwhelming, and you can feel the benefits of that resolve in your heart. I hope that I can keep this up. I hope that I can continue to do my laundry and do my dishes, and as those become established habits in my daily routine, then I can add more things. But I'm not going to feel like a total failure if all I get done in a day is the laundry and the dishes, because there has been a time in my life when those have gone multiple days without getting done. And so I can see the progress, and I can see the benefit of that progress. And so every day is getting easier and easier to make sure that those things get done, and harder to not do them. There have been several times that I have been so tired this past month and just wanted to go to bed. But I said, no, I've committed myself to this. I'm going to make this a habit, and I have to get this laundry put away before I go to bed. And so I was very intentional about it, and it just really made it easier to be sure to get done. So if you are struggling with that, this is my message to you. Keep on trying. Don't give up. Don't feel discouraged. Don't feel less than. Just every day know that today is the day that I'm going to do these few things, and I'm going to make sure that they get done. And then you're going to be able to feel accomplished in the things that you do. Another thing that I have to do every single day is milk Winnie. And I know that if I skip a day of that she's going to suffer consequences from that. So it's really important to me to make sure that I schedule that out every single day. I don't get to it early in the morning. A lot of times I will get my morning chores done, and then I will go out after I have gotten the things done inside the house. Then I will go out and feed the animals and milk her, and come back in and process that milk, put it in the refrigerator, and then I'm on to other things throughout the day. I only milk her once a day. That is a common thing with homesteaders. It's not putting her at risk. She is just going to produce less milk, but as long as I milk her out once a day, she's healthy and strong, and it actually allows me to feed her just a little bit less. And so I'll go out probably around 10:30, 11, something like that, and milk her every day. I really enjoy my milking time. A lot of times Lane will come out with me and he will play outside. That's fun to watch him explore and play while I'm milking. But if he chooses to stay inside, that also gives me some downtime. I'll listen to a podcast, maybe an audiobook. Sometimes I'll just leave everything off and milk in silence, and that repetitive sound of milking is peaceful and enjoyable. So even though it might sound like milking is a chore, going out and milking is really one of my favorite parts of the day, because it's part of my routine that I cannot overlook, that I have to do, and it's something that I enjoy doing. It makes me feel accomplished that I can contribute a very nutritious part of our diet from the milk that I bring in, and also it's something that I'm able to do that keeps me sort of connected to the past and generations gone by. I just really enjoy that way of life, and I like to do things that make me feel more connected to older generations. Milking is something that I really am thankful to be able to do on a daily basis. On these days when I don't have anywhere to be and I don't have a schedule, I like to make sure that I am giving a lot of extra attention, especially to Lane. I like to spend time with all of the kids. The girls are off doing their own thing. Kendall has a job in the mornings, and then she's most of the time not here until later in the evening. Kelsey is working on her schoolwork most of the mornings, but that gives me and Lane some special time to play outside. He loves to be outside and enjoys playing on the trampoline, so that gives us an opportunity to just go and get some sunlight. He also likes to jump on the hay bales. He would much prefer it to be a round bale and to slide down it, but we made do with this pile of square bales that I had gotten delivered last week. He can always find fun things to do, which is one of the fun things about a kid. You don't have to give them expensive toys or expensive vacations. They really can make the most of just a bale of hay or a pile of rocks or some dirt. He can find all kinds of things to do with simple treasures that he finds outside. I think Lane is also enjoying the fall temperatures. He doesn't really mind sweating and he doesn't really mind being hot, but I think all of us would agree that an 80-degree day is much more enjoyable to be outside in than a 98-degree day. So I think he is enjoying being outside just as much as I am this fall season. He brought Kelsey a flower that he had picked, and I think everybody should have a big sister like Kelsey. She plays with him all the time. She is his best friend, which is really fun because whenever we found out we were having Lane, Kelsey was the baby of the family, and she was not very enthusiastic about a baby coming and taking her place as baby of the family. The very first time she laid eyes on him, all of that changed, and I have really enjoyed watching them develop in their relationship, how much she loves him, how much he loves her. It's just a sweet thing. I was talking to my friend who also has a young toddler in her 40s, and I think it's really interesting to have the perspective of raising children in your 20s and then raising another child in your 40s. Something about your perspective does change, and it just helps you to see things through a whole new light. I wish everyone could experience that. I know most people are done raising their kids by the time they're my age, and I know that it seems taxing and difficult sometimes whenever you're older and you don't have as much energy, but the benefits so outweigh all of that. And I've just really thoroughly enjoyed seeing my older children interact with him, and also being able to be the mom that I wasn't able to be for my older kids because I was immature in the way that I was thinking, and I didn't have my act together as a human quite yet. And so although I don't have my act together 100%, I do know that my perspective is different and more mature now. And I'm just really thankful for the opportunities that this has been able to bring me and Chris and our family, being able to have Lane later in life and to be able to sort of have a redo on all of the mistakes that I made in my younger years with my girls as they were growing up, being much more patient with him, spending much more time thinking about ways that we can be more intentional. I just really am thankful for the opportunity to be his mama. And if you are an older mama, I want to tell you that what you're doing is so important, and I also want you to know that you are not alone. There's a lot of us out there who are either starting over or are getting a late start, but it is a blessing and a privilege to be able to raise children, no matter how old you are, no matter what your age is. There are so many things that we can learn from our kids, and I just want to encourage you as a mama just to slow down, not stress about the things that are not going to matter next week or next month, and focus your attention on things that are really lasting, really valuable. Your relationships with your children are going to be the things that last a lifetime, and I want to encourage you to spend all of your energy on those things and not so much on the things that are fleeting or don't really matter much at all. When Lane goes to sleep, it's time for me to do at least a little bit of something more productive. It's hard to get things done whenever you have a toddler wanting things or needing things. So whenever he's asleep, it gives me a couple of hours every day to sort of have time to do the things that need to be done. And I am going back through my house and minimizing things all over again. Today, it was the day to clean out the pantry. I'm sorry that y'all have to see this. This pantry is a total wreck of a disaster, and I have just gotten to the point where I just throw things in there and shut the door because it's really overwhelming and I didn't have time to deal with it. You know from experience, whenever your life gets to that point, you have got to find some time to do something about it. And so I took this afternoon to just clear every single thing out of that pantry, clean it out good, and start all over. The only good thing about having to throw all of this food away is that I'm able to give it to the pigs, which is sort of not really throwing it away, which makes me feel a little better about myself. But I hope that I can be more intentional about purchasing the things that I need and then not repurchasing them until I do need them again. It's really good to stock up and store up for long-term food storage, but whenever you open a bag of chips before the other bag is emptied, that becomes a recipe for huge amounts of food waste. That's sort of what we do. So what was in the pantry was a lot of bags of crackers, chips, rice cakes, things that should have been thrown away, but there was just a tiny bit left, and so the next person didn't want just a tiny bit, so they just opened another bag, and the process just continued to snowball on itself. But I've gotten the pantry looking nice and organized again. That is something that can make me feel really accomplished about today. I don't know if y'all do this, but whenever I've done something like organizing a pantry or a cabinet, if I've decluttered a drawer, I have this weird habit of going in and just staring at it. So I will go in and open the door and just admire how beautifully organized that pantry is. I'll probably do that about 6 or 7 times before I go to bed tonight. Who knows how long this will stay organized, but I'm hopeful that maybe it can stay that way for a month or two, and that way I can keep on top of all of our food storage. I'm hoping that I can build up my food storage for the winter. Since I have a little bit of time before Lane wakes up, I'm going to sit down and spend a few minutes working on my little kids' Bible class material. I've begun teaching Lane's class at church on Sundays and Wednesdays, and so I'm going to have to find a little bit of time every day to work on these different lessons. And when he wakes up, we get to play with some of his cars in his bedroom. He had his birthday party on Saturday, and he got a lot of fun little toys, a lot of car toys, different ramps and things that he is really enjoying playing with. These tractors actually are the things that I used on his cake, and after I got done with the cake, I really wish that I had videoed it for y'all to watch me making the cake, because it turned out pretty cute, but the chances of it turning out a disaster were so high that I decided I didn't want to video it. But I'll show you a picture here of what his birthday cake looked like, and now he's enjoying playing with all of his little tractors. I sure have enjoyed spending the day with you. It's supper time, but it's Kelsey's birthday week, and she has requested Chinese takeout for supper tonight. So that saves me from having to cook supper, and it lets me have some time to sit on the porch, watch Lane play outside, and enjoy this nice cup of coffee. I really am thankful that you were here spending the day with me today. Please let me know what you've been doing today in the comments down below. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of the day and a wonderful week. I love you, and I will see you again next time.